This is an oral and digital podcast of the book Rivals by Tommy Greenwald. One of my favorite books that I've ever read is called Rivals by Tommy Greenwald. It teaches a very important lesson and gives us something to think about. The book won Amazon Best Book of the Month, a Junior Library Guild selection, and YALSA Quick Pick for reluctant young adult readers. The author, Tommy Greenwald, has written many sports books, and this book was inspired by his son Joe, who played basketball. The story is told from three perspectives, one from a boy named Carter Haswell, who is a basketball star for Wallthorne South. He is struggling with his grades and trying to stay on the team. The next perspective is from Alfie Jenks, a middle school sportscaster who also goes to Wallthorne South. She's good at talking about sports but not good at playing them. The last storyteller is Austin Chambers, who goes to Wallthorne North and has mixed feelings about basketball. He has many expectations to be like his parents, who are basketball stars, but he's struggling to follow in their footsteps. The story starts in a town called Wallthorne, where two rivalry middle schools, Wallthorne North and Wallthorne South, are getting ready for their matchup for the first game of the season. The schools couldn't be any more different. North is made up of rich kids who live in the nice part of town, while South is made up of kids who don't have much money and live on the side of town that's not as nice. Wallthorne North's captain, Austin Chambers, is encouraging the new best player on the team, Clay, who grew a lot over the summer and developed his game, to play on what seems like a bum ankle. The first game of the season between North and South, Clay plays awesome. At halftime, he decides he's done for the game. Austin encourages him to keep playing because he really wants to beat South, and his persuasion works. Clay decides to play the second half of the game. In the final seconds, Carter Haswell, the best player for South, drives for a layup to win the game, but he's blocked by Clay. North wins the game, but Clay's not getting up. His knee is injured badly. Austin gets ice cream with his dad like they do after every win, but it doesn't taste very good to Austin. A sports reporter, Alfie Jenks, who goes to South, sees that Clay was limping during the game, so texts him to try to find out what happened. He finally reveals he was hurt coming into the game, but when Alfie asks if the coach or a parent encouraged him to play while he was hurt, he says, not exactly. But Alfie writes a blog about it and suggests that the coach urged him to play. Later, the two scholars are talking on a discussion board and are eager to know what happened with the Clay incident. And Austin ends up admitting that he encouraged Clay to play and that he feels terrible about it. Carter Haswell from South tells him not to blame himself and that he's sorry that it had to happen this way. Austin is working hard with his private coach, but he wonders if it's all worth it. When he started training, he improved quickly, but now his improvement is hard to see, and he's doubtful he can make up for his lack of height and speed. When he was younger, he was tall and naturally good at basketball. When he got older, other kids started passing him, and he was moved from center to guard. He knows he loves basketball, but he wishes he was better at it. His parents were good at it, and they have high expectations for him. He gets put on an invitation-only AAU basketball team that brings in the best players. It is coached by his private coach, and his private coach favors him and starts him over other players that are better than him. Austin knows the only reason he is on this team is because of his rich dad. It is the opposite for Carter Haswell from South. He is a very good basketball player and sees that basketball is more than just a game to play for fun. Similar to Austin, Carter feels pressure from his parents to succeed as well. But this pressure is different. His dad tells him that he's got to be the best, make it all the way to the pros, and help his family financially. When Carter gets put on the AAU team, he feels pressure to be the best, especially when his parents can barely afford to pay for him to play. One of the only things his mom loves is to watch him play. So when he starts failing math, he doesn't tell his parents because he thinks they have enough to worry about. His coach tells him if he doesn't pull his math grade up, he can't play basketball anymore. His friend Eddie tries to help him, but Carter can't understand any of it. So on the day of the big test, when his coach asks him if he's ready for the test, he lies and says he is. He and Eddie decide the only way Carter can pass math is if he cheats and copies Eddie's answers. During the test, Alfie Jenks sees Carter cheat and stays back to tell the teacher, but does not want to jeopardize her friendship with Carter and ends up not telling the teacher. However, the guilt becomes too much for Carter and he goes back to the classroom to tell the teacher. When he sees Alfie run out the door crying, he thinks she told on him and is mad. He tells the teacher he cheated and is immediately cut from the school team and the AAU team. Carter tells his friends that Alfie told on him and she has to eat lunch by herself for a while. The coach also steps down because he says he did not choose his words wisely on the day of the test. A couple months later, there's only one game left in the whole season. Both North and South have 9 wins and 10 losses, and the final game between the two will determine who makes the playoffs. Clay has finally recovered from his injury and is set to play. He and Austin play a game of one-on-one, and Clay wins. Then Austin realizes he doesn't have to be the best player and lets go of his jealousy. He remembers that when he was 10, he was a captain on a team that played against another team that Carter was the captain of. He remembers how nice Carter was and realized they could actually be friends in a different situation. After hard work and dedication, Carter's math grades improve. He only has one more chance to play in the game against North. He proves to the principal that he's trustworthy and will never cheat again. He's allowed to play on the school team and on the AAU team again. In the next AAU practice, Austin gets fouled by a quick defender named Alonzo during the team scrimmage. When Austin goes up for his free throw, he doesn't shoot. Instead, he tells his private coach that he's tired of being favored so much and that Alonzo is a better point guard than him and Alonzo should be starting, not him. Austin then subs himself out of the game. Carter sees this and is impressed. Austin invites Carter to come over to his house, and Carter agrees to come over after school the next day. The next day at lunch, Carter goes to talk to Alfie Jenks, who is sitting alone. He says that he's really sorry for blaming her for telling on him, even though she didn't say anything. He admits it was selfish of him. She says she will accept his apology if he goes on her radio show. He agrees. On the show, Carter and South's girls basketball team best player Janice both talk about their final games against North. Carter agrees to bring the whole boys basketball team to watch the girls' game, which is the day before the boys' game. Carter goes over to Austin's house. At first they seem cool and talk about basketball on Austin's full court. Carter is amazed by how huge Austin's house is compared to his small apartment. He invites Carter downstairs to see his video game setup. Carter just sits there and stares at all the art in Austin's living room. Then he sees a sculpture of an eagle that has a chip in the wing. He realizes that his dad, who is a painter, was the one who accidentally knocked over the sculpture. Austin's mom told Carter's dad's boss about the accident, and consequently his dad was fired. Carter says he has to leave, and he and Austin get in an argument. They both silently agree that they shouldn't have done this right before they were about to try to full-on whoop each other in just a few days. At the girls' basketball game between North and South, both teams sit by each other in the student section. The two teams yell at each other back and forth throughout the game, and the girls from North look like they might be able to upset the number 1 seed South. With a minute to go in the game, South's best player, Janice, fouls out. North can tie the game if they make both free throws. The North girl makes the first. A kid from the student section yells a gross thing at Janice. Carter asks who just said that, and the kid admits it was him, but then says another inappropriate thing. Carter goes up to the kid and yells back at him, and all of a sudden there's a big fight between North and South. The crowd gets pushed back, and then Carter hits the railing protecting the high bleachers. Carter tries to hold on, but his hand slips and the railing is too low to catch him. He falls off the top of the bleachers. The boys' game scheduled for the next night is canceled. Carter breaks many bones throughout his body, but says that he got lucky. As he lays on the couch watching ESPN, the doorbell rings. Carter does not want to get the door. Neither of his parents are home. Carter asks who it is. It's Austin. When Carter explains he can't get to the door, Austin turns around to go home. But it's just at that moment, Carter's dad comes to the door to drop off bologna sandwiches for Carter and invites Austin inside. Turns out that Austin's mom called Carter's dad's boss again, and his dad got his job back and was starting again that day. He dropped off the sandwiches and left the two boys to talk. The boys talk for a while. Then Carter gets an idea. He says when he gets better, they should play a game between North and South, just like the ones they used to play together when they were 10. Austin agrees it's a great idea. A few months later, the two teams meet to play a game. Austin and Carter both want to win, but they both sit on the bench for a portion of the game. When Carter makes a nice layup, Austin surprises him by reaching up for a high five. Carter high fives him back. At halftime, Austin's mom brings pizza. The two teams realize why basketball is the best game in the world because they're having so much fun. In the last part of the game, there's a disagreement about who hit the ball out of bounds. Austin and Carter try to calm their teammates down. Carter then gets a good idea. Rock, paper, scissors, just like when they were 10. Carter plays Austin and wins. The game ends and South ends up winning. But nobody is mad. They're all laughing as they go home. Soon it's just Carter and Austin. They decide to play one-on-one for all the marbles. North won the first game, South won the last. Now who is the champion? Carter is winning, but Austin is keeping it tight. Then with Carter up by 1, Austin shoots a 3. If it goes in, he wins, but it doesn't matter because they know they'll both get ice cream after. The theme of this story is found throughout all 3 perspectives is that basketball is something that should be fun. Pressures, rivalries, and expectations can make players lose sight of why they play in the first place. Sure, rivalries can be exciting, but they can also cause deep rift between individuals. Throughout the book, we see that the need to win and be the best is taking out the fun in basketball. Basketball is supposed to be for enjoyment and exercise. The two teams eventually learn their lesson and play a game just for fun. They end up slapping hands and connecting with each other. Regardless of their socioeconomic status, players come together over their shared love for the game of basketball. The author allows the three storytellers to grow and develop throughout the story. Alfie is a reporter who is looking for the truth, but she ends up getting the Clay story wrong. She realizes her mistake and tries to do better. As the story progressed, she got better at broadcasting and making blogs and learned that the truth is the only thing that matters. When she forgave Carter for blaming her, it strengthened their friendship. She started as a reporter who was so eager for a story that she got the facts wrong, but later she learned to be a better reporter by always finding the truth before telling everyone. Overall, throughout the book, Alfie developed her reporting skills and learned how to be a good friend. In the beginning of the story, Austin's character is filled with jealousy and self-doubt. As the story continues, he trains and works hard with his private coach, but it doesn't seem like his hard work is paying off. He knows the only reason he's on the AAU team is because of his dad, and wishes he was there because of talent alone. But Austin learns to let go of his jealousy and just be happy with who he is and not what his parents want him to be. He learns to love playing basketball and releases the pressures that were holding him back. His character develops by becoming a better friend to others around him. In the last year of his middle school career, Carter started to think about basketball as more than just a game, and that if he kept being the best all the way to the pros, he could help his parents. Instead of reaching out for help, he compromised his morals and cheated to pass his math test. His character learns the value of admitting the truth. Later, he realizes he made another mistake by blaming Alfie and is humble enough to apologize to her as well. He learned to ask for help and worked hard to improve in math. Overall, I thought this book was awesome, and I love the story and learned not to take sports so seriously when I'm playing and to remember that it's supposed to be fun. I hope you enjoyed my podcast as much as I enjoyed reading and writing about Rivals, an awesome book by Tommy Greenwald.